Yo, what's up? It's Jackal. Thank you for joining me on the Eli Frequency Podcast. You could have been anywhere in the world at this moment, but you chose to spend it with me. I appreciate that. Hey, yo, what's up? It's Jackal. Thank you for joining me on the Eli Frequency Podcast. You could have been anywhere in the world right now at this moment, but you took your time to spend it with me. I appreciate that. So as not to waste it, let's get to it. What are we talking about? We talking about how East Coast dudes, they always wrong, in my opinion, with regard to who they pick for their favorite rappers, anything that comes to rap. And I know it was born and made on the East Coast, but y'all have no clue. Y'all so biased and y'all thinking y'all have not elevated. So we're going to listen to Joe Budden and his podcast group members talk about who they have in their for the most classic albums. And we're going to hear Mark Lamont Hill try to cheat and discount one of Kanye's album or two of Kanye's albums, but then kind of throw Jay-Z a extra album in there and say they kind of tied, or is Jay-Z if you want to throw in. Yeah, see. Yeah. So, check this out.
Kanye.
Oh, that's a good question. Most solo classics.
Kanye West.
Kanye.
I think it's Jay-Z.
Well, hold on. Kanye, we say, are y'all saying 3 or 4?
4.
I'm assuming you're saying the first 3 plus
5.
plus Twisted Fantasy, My Dark Twisted Fantasy?
808.
Oh, it might, yeah, 808s might be in that conversation.
808s is in that conversation.
But 808s, I realize it's cilantro. You either love it or hate it.
So let's say 4, because those are like uncontroversial right now.
Yeah.
Now let's go to Hove. Reasonable Doubt.
Yep. Blueprint.
Volume
Blueprint.
Black
Album. Any other classics?
I don't put Volume 2.
American.
For me too, and I like American Gangster too. For me, those two are also in there. But
Volume 1 is his third best
I
album.
love Volume 1.
Volume 1.
It gets so disrespected.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So to me, like they're in the same. It just depends. To me, Hove and Kanye just depends on them extra albums. What you think? Like if you love 808s, then you might put Ye up there. For me, American Gangster and is like a slept on classic that puts Hove.
You see that? They were not tied. Because if you got Kanye the first 3, 100% for sure. And then you got 808s, that's 99.9% for sure. Then you got My Dark Twisted Fantasy. That's a definite. So you got 4 definites with the first 3 plus Dark Twisted Fantasy, right? And then the possible is 808. So you got 4 for sure. Then the possible is the 808. So that's 5. Hove, you got 3. And if you want to add 1 more, you will say 4. But Mark's trying to make it seem like they the same, depending on if you add this album or that album. Because just like with Jay-Z, if you want to add this 1 or more, okay. With Kanye, it's 808s. I don't know how that's not a classic to them, because that was a change of how people start rapping. That's when people start using auto-tune. That's when people start singing and they doing all this other stuff, right? And then you got other albums from Kanye that could also be thrown in there. Can you understand what I'm saying? But let's hear more.
Both in the same conversation. Anybody else in that conversation?
Nas got 3.
Tribe has. Oh, we talking solo though.
Yeah.
Solo.
Nas got, yeah.
Nas
Nas got maybe 4.
We got Illmatic. It was written guy?
Illmatic.
Yeah,
it was
it's
written.
It was written guy? Okay.
Yeah.
Is Stillmatic overrated now? 10 years later, in terms of the classic conversation. Okay,
I
so
think it's there.
So
In the
Stillmatic.
classic?
Yeah, hell yeah.
And then he got at least 1 Hit Boy classic too, right?
I'm not
like
putting
Magic,
I love the one with what is it called?
Y'all speeding again. Slow down. If there's a fight to be had, then how do you feel about Stillmatic?
Stillmatic is cool. Not a classic album.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right. It's
How is it
not
not a classic?
not a
album?
classic.
You know what? I might be speaking from a level of bias because I'm not the
You're
biggest
not.
Nas guy. So
You're right.
I'll tap out to that.
Although
It's a
Braveheart
great
Party is
I'll tap out to
trash,
that.
It is.
but I'll forgive him for that.
And
All right, you got to
honestly-
look back.
You say?
No, no.
I get why some people thought Stillmatic got an extra push because of Ether and because of the moment. But when you go back and listen to that album now, it's still, to me,
All right, enough of that. Listen, man, they tripping. Because Kanye has Yeezus, he has Ye, he has other ones that a lot of people love. But nobody's like, they're not putting them in as classic. Classic means usually, when you consider it a classic, the majority of folks in the country and possibly the world likes listening to this album. It gets heavy rotation, or whenever it comes on, you can just let it play. Right. So they were right with Kanye probably has the most. But then they would name it people like Nas. Only the East Coast thinks Nas has more than one classic album. I'm just keeping it 100. In Chicago, they don't think Nas has more than one classic album. His first album, that's it. Nas was not in heavy rotation nowhere. Nowhere. But they trying to make it seem like that just because they like the album. People on the East Coast. People on the West Coast wasn't pressing play on Nas albums after the first one. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they being biased, and it's just crazy. Okay, let's talk about Ice Cube. America's Most Wanted. Classic. Death Certificate. Classic. Now, The Predator, it's cool. Lethal Injection was a really good album. So Ice Cube, we can say 2 classics, right? But now, let's go Scarface. Let's go with Scarface. See what we're talking about with Face. Mr. Scarface is back. Definitely a classic album. The World Is Yours. Classic. The Diary. See, I consider that classic. But that's me. I'll accept that I feel that way about it, and maybe a lot of other people don't. Okay, I'm cool. I'm all right with that. Then you got The Fix and The Last of a Dying Breed and stuff like that. But how come they never bring up people like E40? Let's see what E40's discography looks like. Right? Federal. This ain't no damn miracle. Ooh, Federal was definitely a classic album, man. Now, just because you ain't heard it, don't mean it ain't classic. Like, you have to have listened to these albums in order to say, no, I ain't like it, I wasn't messing with it. But Federal was definitely a classic album in a major way. That one was a classic to me. You know, it had the breakthrough single, One Love, oh, One Love. Okay, so you got 2 out of it. Like, okay, let's go with another one. Spice One discography. Let's see, Spiggity One. Spice One. His first album, classic album. 187 he wrote, classic album. America's Nightmare, classic album. Man, come on, man. Like, you can't just be listening to no Nas. You got to you have to be eclectic, man. You have to listen to a number of people. I was listening to East Coast, West Coast, South, Midwest, everything in between. I was listening to it all. If you ain't heard Spice One's album and you wasn't kicking Spice One back in the day, you ain't know what you was doing. If you wasn't bumping 187 he wrote, America's Nightmare, come on, man. Another classic. So that's 3 classics for Spice One. Spice One, 187 he wrote, America's Nightmare. In 1996, I love that one. But I can understand if other people didn't like that one as much. The Black Mussolini, it was all right. Immortalized. I loved Immortalized. Because it's kind of when he took Pac's style. That's right when Pac passed away. So Immortalized. But I won't call it a classic. It's classic to me, but it's not classic. But Spice One, 187 in a row, America's Nightmare. That's 3. And of course, East Coast are some haters. They're not gonna try to mention Tupac. Now, Tupacalypse Now. They ain't gonna want to call that a classic. All right, so I ain't gonna throw it in there as a classic. I'ma say that was a classic album to me because I like to learn things when I listen to music. I like to be educated on things. So he was talking that talk, and he was educating me, and he was throwing some sad stuff in there, and he was throwing some personal stuff in there. You know, Trapped, Brenda's Got a Baby, When My Homies Call. Come on, man. But Strictly for My Niggas, that's a classic album. Dun, dun. Holla If You Hear Me. Let me see. Before I go into Strictly for My, Me Against the World. Okay, let's say overall, that's definitely, most people would call that a classic album. Me Against the World is definitely it was the number one album in the country. He was in prison. Classic album. Most people say that that's the beginning of his classic album. So Me Against the World, All Eyes on Me, undoubtedly classic. Now, that's a double album. So do we get 2 for that? So technically that would be 3 albums right there. But let's say that's 3 albums worth of work. But let's say, okay, it's 1 album. So Me Against the World, All Eyes on Me, The Don Illuminati, Machiavelli, that's 3. And Are You Still Down? It was a really good album. Until the End of Times, really good album. Better Days, Loyal to the Game. Yeah, so after Machiavelli, I wouldn't call none of the other ones classic, but some people got Are You Still Down as a classic. Or Until the End of Time. But like, I don't. I love Thug Life album, but it's like 3 skippable songs on that one, so that ain't classic. Let me see. Songs on, let's see. Strictly. I'm just trying to do this in real time. Let's see if I can get the track list. Come on, man. Strictly for My track list. Okay. Holla If You Hear Me. Point the Finger. You Can Get the Finger. The Middle. Something to Die For. And These Is My Last Words, featuring Ice Cube and Ice-T. Soldier's Revenge. I'm a soldier. Daddy was a soldier. The struggle must continue, so it's soon. Peep Game, featuring Threat. Still Struggling, featuring Live Squad. Guess Who's Back? Dun, 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 dun. I'm strictly representing. Keep Your Head Up. Strictly from I Was Framed, so don't. The Streets Is Death Row. Now that's one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life because you feel it. The lyrics are on point. The flow is tight. Oh man, The Streets Are Death Row. Listen to that song. Listen to that song. That's one of the best songs you could ever listen to. My homie lost his family, snap. Shout up. My homie lost his family, snap. What do you say? My homie lost his family, snap. Shout up the whole block to bring him back. The Streets Is Death Row. I Get Around. Round and round, round we go. I Get Around. The Papa song. Five Deadly Venoms. That album was classic. It was a classic album to me. Me Against the World was classic. So how many was that? For Tupac? Like for sure. Me Against the World, All Eyes on Me, and Machiavelli. So 3, I would say 4, 5. I would say 5, but 3. Okay. So I would say the person with the most classic albums would be Kanye West by far. I wouldn't. Lil Wayne ain't in there. Drake, I don't even feel like he has a classic album. He just has a lot of ringtone songs that people like. Scarface, he don't have enough. Let's see. KRS, Rakim. How many, let's see. Eric B. and Rakim discography. See, they ain't even give these people no thoughts. Paid in Full, classic. Follow the Leader, classic. Let the Rhythm Hit 'em. Like, I would call it a classic, man. Don't Sweat the Technique. I would call those classics. But I know most people probably wouldn't. So Paid in Full and Follow the Leader. So they got 2. Or Rakim got 2. You know what? Let's look up LL Cool J. Radio, classic. Bigger and Deffer, possible. Walking with a Panther, possible. Mama Said Knock You Out, possible. That's it. But Radio is definitely one. Bigger and Deffer is possible. Walking with a Panther, possible. Mama Said Knock You Out, possible. Because Walking with a Panther had Going Back to Cali. I don't think so. Which Biggie stole. Mama Said Knock You Out. We know that. Bigger and Deffer. That's what I Need Love. So LL got, we'll say 2 for sure. Who else? So Slick Rick. I'm just trying to think. Twister. See, I think Twister got like 4, in my opinion, but I just know everybody wouldn't agree, so I'm not even gonna say nothing about it. I just keep that as a personal. He's probably one of the top. He's number 1 or 2 in my own personal classics list. But since I know most people don't feel that same way, I won't even throw him in there. Who else? I'm trying to think. East Coast, is there anybody? 50 Cent got 1. East Coast. Kool Moe Dee, the Wild Wild West. Slick Rick, Snoop Dogg. He has, in my opinion, 1. Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre has The Chronic 2001. That's it. And they said Eminem. The first 3 albums of Eminem's are definitely classic to me. And I think they should definitely be classics to everybody. So I'm gonna go Eminem got 3. And I'm trying to think about who I really liked and still like. Who did I start liking that's still rapping? That's Jay-Z. Like, I don't know. I feel like East Coast people say Reasonable Doubt. I don't feel like everybody else around the world or country, I don't feel like everybody else be feeling Reasonable Doubt. Like, I never play Reasonable Doubt. That's not even in my playlist nowhere. It's cool, but that's not a classic album to me. That's an East Coast classic, in my opinion. I'm not from the East Coast, so I'm giving you an unbiased opinion. I don't think Reasonable Doubt. I think Blueprint. is a classic. I think the Black Album is definitely a classic. So the Blueprint is what made me start liking Jay-Z, because I did not like him at first. And see, like, it seems like they judge classic albums by this boo-bap, East Coast rap style. Like, that ain't how I judge a classic album. And I don't think that's how most people judge a classic album that ain't from the East Coast. I think most people judge classic albums by songs that everybody can get into. Like with Reasonable Doubt, I couldn't put Reasonable Doubt on and like my mom be like, oh, I like this song. I can't do that. Like, but I can put any Pac album on, and no matter who was in the room or who was in the house, everybody would just be vibing, and it'll fade into the background, and you'll be cool with it. Just I can't put Reasonable Doubt on and get that. Like the Graduation album, you can throw that on and just clean up the house, and my wife come in, she won't like cut it off. She'll be doing her thing. Reasonable Doubt, she'll change the station. Or she'll say, is it okay if I change this? You know what I'm saying? Like, so to be a classic album, it has to have all those elements in. It's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock life for us. Like, okay, cool, that's cool. But all that other stuff, that's some like New York stuff. Like, nah, man. I don't count Jay-Z as, I think East Coast people count Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt as a classic album. And since I think only like New York people mainly do that, I'm not even counting that. And that's not my bias. That's me feeling like only East Coast people count that, because I'm not from the East Coast and I wasn't feeling that album. It was cool, but I never played that album more than like 5 times in my life. I never had an urge to listen to it more, and I still don't. Unless I'm watching like the streets is watching. You know what I'm saying? Like, but so yeah, so when Pac died and I listened to the Blueprint, and I don't forget which one, because it was 2 blueprints, right? And the East Coast don't like one of them, but it's interesting to me because the East Coast don't like one of them. But I think the rest of the country or the world or whatever like the other ones, because he's talking about a myriad of things. He's talking about different topics. He's talking about women. He's talking about like things that everybody can relate to. Just because somebody's talking about drugs, the East Coast be like, oh man, he told you about drugs, and he's talking. The rest of the world don't care about that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you have to, for something to be classic, it has to be topics that most people can just relate to, or even if they can't relate, they can listen to you take them there. And I just don't feel like Reasonable Doubt did that for me. Scarface. He talked about drugs when he first started, but I don't know. He took me on that journey. I felt like I was in the car right alongside him when he was talking, when he was rapping. He gave it a whole visual. Backed in the park like I was staying. Opened up the trailer. South Park started spraying. Walking through the living room, tearing up. He's loading up his pistol. Ain't this a bit? He should have had it loaded. He said, come on, Scarface, hold it. I won't do it again, man. Yeah, I know it. I told you when you take mine, I take yours. Hands in the air. Fell to the floor. Please don't shoot Scarface. I looked him in the eye. Pop, pop. Then I shot him in his face. A sucker's way out is to steal him. Dad said, always look a man in the eye before you kill him. Couldn't handle me. What's your reason, man? Insanity. Oh, man. See, what about my son? I got him. He's in real good hands. He closed his eyes and I shot him. Now his son's calling me daddy. I got something more valuable than money from a good girl gone bad. Who's a better storyteller than Scarface? Not Slick Rick. And he's dope. It's funny. I liked Dana Dane more than I liked Slick Rick. Dana Dane with fame. Dana Dane with fame. But, yeah. So I think it's either Kanye West or Kendrick Lamar. Yep. I think those are the people, the two artists with the most classics. Either Kanye West or Kendrick Lamar. And Kendrick ain't even done yet. Whew. So, yeah. That's my thoughts on it. And that's an unbiased, non-East Coast take on it, man. I hate hearing East Coast dudes talk about rap stuff, man, because they always gotta pick some, like, people from New York. And then they get boroughs. Like, oh, no, he from Brooklyn. That's why he the best. What? Like, that don't got nothing to do with nothing. And they can only speak from their biased, lopsided East Coast thought process. I'm from the Midwest. I was getting everything filtering through my ears from the East Coast, from the West Coast, from down south, and in the Midwest. Now, I may have a bias to Midwest, right? So that's why I can say my top 5 could be like Twista and The Brat as far as woman, and Do or Die as far as group, and Kanye as far as biggest artist and production, and you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so maybe that's my bias. However, the people I'm naming now, okay, Kanye from Chicago, but everybody puts Kanye in there, so it's not me. Everybody, they just said Kanye. So Kanye and Kendrick ain't from Chicago, so you know what I mean? So that's what it is, man. So in a world that evolves in all ways, make sure that your foundation is eternal. Love always. Please hit that subscribe, like. Don't forget to comment. Hit that notification bell so you could be notified whenever I'm on the frequency. So for now, it's Eli. Frequently. Peace. You looking good, man. How you doing?
I'm fine.
That's good. My name's CDN. What's your name?
My name's Hadilla.
That's a beautiful name, but I just call you Hot.
I guess you can.
So what would it take for a man like me to get with a woman as fine as you?
You really want to know what it takes to get with a girl like me?
For sure. Your gravity, bringing them strings. Yeah, let's add some emotion to this scene. Yeah.